Blake Bortles, aka the B.O.A.T, has had one of the most interesting football careers. The former top 5 pick was recently signed by the Green Bay Packers. But how did we get here? And who is Blake Bortles? In the Who Is series, we go through the backstories of up-and-coming collegiate and pro athletes. In our second episode of the Flashback series, we are going through the backstory of the B.O.A.T, which was requested by my friend Scott Fisher. If there's a player you want to see in future episodes, make sure to comment it in the comment section below. Blake Bortles was born on April 28, 1992 in Altamonte Spring, Florida. Bortles played Pop Warner but did not play quarterback. When he got to high school, the freshman coach wanted him to try out quarterback. It was a tough transition, and he struggled his freshman year, but things worked out in the long run. Bortles attended Aviado High School in Aviado, Florida, which is just northeast of Orlando. Bortles would not just play well in football, but baseball as well. In high school, Bortles was built like a linebacker and was athletic like a running back, but he wanted to play quarterback. During the first half of his sophomore year, Bortles played defensive back before he was moved to quarterback, running a wing T offense, which was not the best offense to showcase his skills. Bortles replaced the injured starting quarterback and threw for 203 yards and 1 touchdown. Going to Bortles' junior year, Aviado was coming off a district title in 2007 and switched to a spread offense, which led to Bortles throwing for a county record 2,400 yards while also adding 24 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Bortles' high school coach Wes Allen told First Coast News about a game-winning situation his junior year, saying, "The game is on the line and we're down by 1. We're going for 2 to win the game. It was Blake's call, and we had the play called 85 roll. And Blake said, 'I'm going to run the corner over.' And he tucked it and ran the corner over and scored. We win the game by 1. Kind of pushed us ahead as a program, and I think it defined who he is as a leader in the football program at that point." Aviado as a team did not experience the same type of success as Bortles, going 3-7, leading some to wonder whether Bortles could compete at the FBS level. Bortles was named 3rd team All-State and All-County and looked to prove himself his senior year. As a senior, Bortles threw for 2,211 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, leading his high school team to a 9-2 record and a district title. Bortles would go on to be named All-County again, while also being named the MVP of the Central Florida All-Star Game. Bortles finished his high school career with the Seminole County record, 5,576 career passing yards, and 53 touchdowns. Coming out of high school, according to 24/7 Sports Composite, Blake Bortles was a 3-star recruit who was the 33rd best pro-style quarterback, 119th best player in Florida, and 814th best player in the 2010 class. Due to playing baseball in the summer, Bortles was not able to attend a lot of football camps, causing him to fly under the radar. Bortles was not even viewed as one of the best recruits in his area. That title went to Jeff Driscoll, who was the #1 rated quarterback in the 2011 class. Bortles and Driscoll played youth ball together before going to rival high schools. Bortles would receive interest from Arkansas, Clemson, Florida State, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, but would not receive any offers from the big Power 5 schools. Bortles would only receive offers from Colorado State, Purdue, Tulane, UCF, and Western Kentucky. According to Wes Allen, only 3 of those schools were offering Bortles to play quarterback. One of those 3 schools were UCF, Bortles' hometown school. Tim Salem, an assistant at UCF at the time, had kids who played youth sports with Bortles. Offensive coordinator Charlie Taffy spoke about Bortles to ESPN, saying, "He's a guy we probably knew more about than any other school. Where he wasn't that heavily recruited, we were pretty certain he could be a good quarterback." UCF wanted Bortles and never wavered recruiting him. Bortles would commit to UCF before his senior year and later signed with the Knights. Hi, I want to pause this video for a second to remind you to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. I also want to announce that if we hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of June, I will be doing a giveaway with a few really cool things. To enter, make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram at JRO'Brien. I will be checking. Now, let's get back to the video. Bortles was not the only quarterback UCF signed in the 2010 class. They also signed another 3-star quarterback in Jeff Godfrey out of Miami. Godfrey would get a foot up on Bortles, enrolling a semester early, and was a few months ahead of Bortles. Godfrey would start Bortles' freshman year and won Conference USA Freshman of the Year, leading UCF to the conference championship and beat Georgia in the Liberty Bowl, making it the most successful season in program history at the time. Some people wondered if Blake was going to transfer after his redshirt year, with Wes Allen telling ESPN, "A lot of colleges that came through during the spring after he redshirted asked me, 'Is Blake going to stay at UCF?' I went to lunch with him one day and asked him, 'What are your thoughts?' He said, 'Coach, I am not going anywhere.'" UCF knew the type of talent Bortles had, and after his freshman year, Taffy told Bortles he had the potential to play in the NFL if he put in the work. Godfrey would hold on to the starting job in 2011, but Bortles also got playing time as well, showing many that he was the future of the UCF program after being snubbed in recruiting. Bortles finished the season completing 68.2% of his passes for 958 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. When it became apparent that Bortles was the future, Godfrey left the team before coming back and playing wide receiver. In his first season as a starter, Bortles threw for 3,059 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, while completing 62.9% of his passes. He also rushed for 285 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. UCF finished the season going 10-4, losing the conference championship game in overtime to Tulsa 33-27, but winning the B.O.A.T Bowl. During his senior year, Bortles led UCF to a 3-0 record, which included a win over Penn State 34-31. They would lose their next game to South Carolina 28-25. In the Penn State game, Bortles threw for 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception, completing 74.1% of his passes. In the South Carolina game, Bortles threw for 358 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, completing 69.4% of his passes. A few weeks later, UCF was down 28-7 to Louisville in the third quarter, the favorites to win the American Conference that year and led by Teddy Bridgewater. Bortles led the comeback, throwing the game-winning touchdown with 23 seconds left to Godfrey to win 38-35. Later in the season, Bortles threw for 404 yards and 4 touchdowns against Temple and 335 yards and 1 touchdown against Rutgers. UCF finished the season on a 9-game win streak, winning the conference and beating Baylor 52-42 in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. In the Fiesta Bowl, Bortles threw for 301 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, while also rushing for 93 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Bortles finished the season throwing for 3,581 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, while also rushing for 272 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground. Bortles was named the MVP of the Fiesta Bowl, American Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year, and Honorable Mention All-American by Sports Illustrated. Blake Bortles would go on to be the first quarterback selected in the 2014 NFL Draft by the Jacksonville Jaguars 3rd overall. Blake Bortles made his debut in relief of Chad Henne in a blowout loss during the 3rd game of the season. After the game, Bortles was named the Jaguars starter. In the 2015 season, Bortles set the Jaguars franchise record with 4,428 passing yards and 35 touchdowns, while they would finish the season 5-11. In 2016, the Jaguars finished the season 3-13, while Bortles struggled with injuries from Week 8 on, which led to Bortles beating Chad Henne out for the starting job going into the 2017 season. In the 2017 season, Bortles led the Jaguars to the playoffs as the 3rd seed, beating the Buffalo Bills and Pittsburgh Steelers 1st and 2nd round, making the conference championship for the first time since 1999 and setting up a date with the Patriots for a trip to the Super Bowl. They would lose to the Patriots 24-20. Although Bortles led the Jaguars to a 3-1 start in 2018, they would proceed to collapse before Bortles was benched after Week 12. After the Jaguars signed Nick Foles during the offseason, they released Bortles a little over a year after signing him to a 3-year, $54 million contract. During his time in Jacksonville, Bortles threw for 17,646 yards and 103 touchdowns, but also led the league with 75 interceptions in 75 games, 13 of which were returned for touchdowns, and the second most fumbles with 46. In 2019, Bortles served as Jared Goff's backup, playing a handful of snaps throughout the season. Bortles would then reunite with Jeff Driscoll in Denver in 2020 when Drew Lock got injured. Bortles was then released and signed to the practice squad a few weeks later after Lock was healthy again. In November, Bortles was put on the COVID-19 list after being in close contact with Jeff Driscoll and was fined along with the other quarterbacks for violating COVID-19 protocols. He was then signed by the Rams at the end of December after Jared Goff got hurt. The Rams did not re-sign Bortles after the season, and on May 13th, Bortles signed a contract with the Green Bay Packers, with some thinking he could be Aaron Rodgers' replacement this season as Love develops another year. In my opinion, I think Rodgers will be starting quarterback for the Packers this season, but who knows? Will Bortles make his first start since 2018 this year, or play in a game for the first time since 2019? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos in the Who Is series. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's hit 5K by the end of June, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.